crying that their Imam is dead, and the skies are testifying that holy blood was shed over his body. They cry, can't you see? They cry, can't you see? Over his body. How are their hearts that believing that when he dies they can't rest? And with the death of Al-Kadhim, tears are shed in east and west. Even the sky sheds tears for him, with Al-Kadhim laid to rest. With him gone, even angels weep. Him dying is their greatest. Were it not for this tragedy, the Shia would not cry, and for his great calamity, the Shia's hearts will die. Were it not for this tragedy, the Shia would not cry, and for his great calamity, the Shia's hearts will die. Over his body they cry, can't you see? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على خير الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبي إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعيتي الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. Distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, dear viewers at home, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode of Morning Baraka, brought to you exclusively on Imam Hussein TV 3. Hope you've had a great weekend. We're going to start, inshallah, this week with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the blessings of the Holy Prophet, and the blessings of the Holy Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. On this week, we have a blockbuster week ahead of you, because we are talking filmmaking with experts. We're talking the martyrdom of Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam. We'll be showing you scenes over the last 5 or 6 days in terms of what is actually going on in Kadhimiyya, in Baghdad, when it comes to commemorating the martyrdom of Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam. And on Friday, inshallah, I'll be speaking to one of my dear friends in America as we talk about the advancement or the progression of the Shia in the West. A very intriguing conversation. However, the here and now, today, let's tell you what's coming on today's show. Kicking off today's show is an interview with special guest and filmmaker Ali Basri, a name that often resonates with high quality. And let me tell you, as a reciter, if you're working with Ali, you know you're going to get a cracker of a video. He's on my couch at 10:35. Yasser's Discoveries continues with him giving us an insight into an individual that has managed to balance work and family life, as well as leading a community. That's later on in the show. And as always, we end our show with the dua of Monday recited by Ahmed Rakabi from the holy city of Karbala. And that is your lineup for today, Monday the 5th of February, 24th of Rajab. Muslim filmmakers, Yasser's Discoveries, dua of Monday. But throw in between all of that is On This Day, as well as so many other interesting segments. So inshallah, we're going to see you very, very soon. To the show. Now, becoming a filmmaker requires a lot of dedication, grit, and heaps of patience, especially working with our community here in London. Yet, it's an essential cog in the machinery of the Shia community here in London. What do I mean? This community, brothers and sisters, needs speakers. It needs reciters. It needs poets, project managers, lawyers, whatever it is. Yet it also needs individuals with the artistry, imagination, and the relevant equipment to capture momentous occasions, memories, and events to showcase to the world what the Shia are truly about. Making it in this field is hard, and establishing yourself as a unique and creative filmmaker is no easy task. So I've invited filmmaker Ali Basri to the Morning Baraka studios to discuss his journey and the lessons aspiring filmmakers can take when embarking on their own journey. Ali, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
How's everything, okay?
Good, alhamdulillah.
Fantastic, fantastic. So look, before we get into the nitty-gritty details of how cameras work and looking at certain videos that you have produced and directed and given to the world. Look, first and foremost, when it comes to inspiring, what inspired you to become a filmmaker?
Yeah, it's a common question. I mean, I wish I had some fancy answer, but really, most people my age kind of got into it through the kind of video camera era where, you know, they were making their way into family homes.
Okay.
And, you know, as kids, all we had was TV.
Yes.
So the video camera became this thing where I was just fascinated by it, and I would create certain mini films with my siblings.
Okay.
And, yeah, just from an early age.
I remember video cameras, they were like probably about this big.
Yeah.
And then you used to put your... I don't know what the terms are, but the Velcro thing, you put your hand in there.
Hand
and then
grip.
yeah, and then there's the back and forth, which is the zoom.
The zoom, correct.
Yeah, yeah. I used to... there was a function. Do you know those three coloured yellow, white, and red? Yeah,
the inputs.
The inputs to go to the TV.
Right.
So what my dad used to do is he used to put the camera there, put the input in, and we can see it on the TV. It wasn't recording, but we just see it on the TV.
Yes.
So I should just put that, and then you're right. We used to do a lot of like weird stuff in front of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that inspired you to become a filmmaker, because obviously then you saw a rise or a change in technology and things become a bit more advanced. When did you actually shoot your first film, movie, recitation? I know it's going a while back.
Yeah, the first kind of film, it was in my teens.
Yeah.
Where I would make these I would basically imitate certain videos and films, short films I would see. So it was in my early teens where I really started to create and make sort of short films, if you want to call them that. They were anything but short films. They were terrible.
Well, they were long.
Because, you know, you couldn't edit really in those days. It was all in-camera editing with video cameras.
Is it?
Yeah, so editing was a bit of a mission.
You couldn't export it to a laptop or a computer to then edit on software? Is that not how it worked?
I mean, I'll take it as a compliment that, you know, if you think that technology existed when I was a teen, I'll take it as a compliment. But when I was a teen, we're talking video camera tapes still, and, you know.
Oh, wow. It was that difficult?
It was very difficult. So, yeah, no, when I got older, obviously, then the advancements began. And, just constantly making short films.
I mean, when I see your movies and I see your videos online, they are often unique and there's a certain style to them. So how do you come up with ideas for your films?
Yeah, the golden question. Ideas come from various places. One of my favorite filmmakers, James Cameron. Okay. He sort of directed Avatar and Titanic, Terminator, these kind of films. Yeah. He puts it really nicely. He calls it the creative law of thermodynamics, which is to say when you have to absorb before you can radiate. That's how he describes it. Yeah. Which basically means you need to absorb, you need to watch films, you need to read books, you need to have life experience. Yeah. All of these things you sort of put into a vault, which you access later in terms of creativity. So it kind of comes from all those kind of things. Absorbing as much as you can.
Did you study any of this stuff?
No. I studied graphic design. Okay. And visual communication.
Okay, so it's still hand in hand
with
it.
Yeah, but sort of. But filmmaking, no, completely self-taught. Just through trial and error. I would kind of dissect certain trailers and things like that back in the day. Reverse engineer, you know, why I would really slow them down and look at the cuts, look at the kind of text they were using. I learned that way because it wasn't like we had YouTube videos or those kind of resources to dip into.
And that, so you need, as in for aspiring filmmakers in the future, you need to be bothered essentially to break down videos and films and try and analyze what is it, because in my mind it's basically the director has a message, has an idea, and he wants to portray this idea in film, in moving motion picture, whatever you want to call it. Again, I don't know the terms. And so whenever I watch a film now, I'm always not just wasting my time, I actually look and analyze, okay, this you're right, so this angle or that angle or this particular character or this cut, is that what you were doing but ages ago, looking at film?
Absolutely, yeah. I would always, you know, films have been ruined for me for a long time. Where all I'm doing is analyzing, because it's the best way to learn. You know, if you think about it, all this kind of film theory, and they figured it out in the early 1900s. You know, you've got famous Soviet filmmakers who worked on this kind of film theory where they looked at the relationship between cutting between certain images, why it works, why it doesn't work. It's all been figured out, so there's a reason why it works. So you shouldn't try and reinvent the wheel. Obviously, certain genres of filmmaking, you can break the rules, but the rules are there because they work. So don't try and reinvent the wheel. Always look at what's been done, what works, and adapt it to your own work.
A lot of people see your work within Shia circles. Have you done anything outside of Shia stuff?
Yeah, so my kind of work now is I work with brands and sort of medium to small businesses, creating content for their kind of businesses and social media. So it's kind of, that's my main work. In terms of films and this kind of stuff, it's kind of a much more difficult egg to crack. Unless you do things you're by yourself and self-fund, then you know it's much more difficult. But yeah, I work in the kind of corporate world.
Oh, okay. So you don't just rely on majalis or, for example, the community to.
No.
That's not your main line of work. That's just something that you probably do on the side then.
Yeah, it's the majalis especially is you'd consider it a side gig.
Okay.
But it's kind of where I started in the community as well.
Yeah.
Back in 2011 with the Shabab Sultan Majlis.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so definitely, you know, my foray into that was through majalis.
So you've then done a lot of work with reciters. I've personally done a lot of work with you, and I very much enjoy working with, because I know that the end product is going to be something of high quality. And you can always, there are certain people that you work with, you can always trust that, you know what, just leave it to him, and you know it's going to be a brilliant production. Any challenges that you face when it comes to working with the Shia community?
Well, without mentioning names.
No, man.
It's challenges. It's, you know, budgets are tight on a good day.
Yeah.
So it's kind of trying to work on a shoestring, you know, budget. It's hard. It is hard to work on a tight budget, but you make it work.
Yeah.
You know, as best you can. You know, it's usually just me and the reciter on the shoots most of the time.
Yeah.
So wherever we can.
In a freezing location in northwest London.
Passing a kidney stone.
There's been some horrible
a true story,
times.
by the way.
Have you?
Yeah. When? It was on our shoot in the basement.
Oh, when we did the Ramadan track.
Yeah. So challenges, passing a kidney stone while trying to film.
I didn't. By the way, you hit it perfectly, because I couldn't tell at all that you were suffering. I thought it was just a cold, but it turns out it was something else. So look, you mentioned budget, and sometimes you feel like, you know what, I give up with this community because they're all trying to lowball me, and they're all saying, look, they're trying to save their own budgets, but they know that, you know, maybe they could spend a bit more. And how do you then start to balance thinking, look, the corporate world is valuing me and my work, but then the community who I want to serve, but they're not really valuing my work. How do you balance that out?
So there's a lot of fulfillment I get from doing community work.
Okay.
It's definitely something ingrained in me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of satisfaction, obviously working for the sake of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. There's a certain reward there which goes beyond monetary value.
Okay.
So if it wasn't for that, I would have cracked a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. It is a very difficult work because I know a lot of professionals who, it's a bit of a tough situation. They want the work to better themselves, but at the same time, they need to live. And they feel like, well, I can't do this. It's not worth my time. So it's a very, very difficult kind of situation to be in. But alhamdulillah, I think for yourself, you've got your major focus is the corporate side and the brands that you work on, and then the community work is something that you do on the side. So look, just on an overall kind of general scale, when it comes to media, when it comes to filmmaking, why is it so relevant now than it has ever been?
I think everyone, the amount of people who call themselves a filmmaker now is huge. Everyone's a filmmaker now. Everyone's, the phone in your pocket can shoot better quality than most professional cameras could 10 years ago.
Really?
So everyone has had to learn and adapt to become a filmmaker in a sense. Especially kind of business owners, people, personal brands. To promote yourself, you have to use social media. You have to create videos. The accessibility as well has become proliferate. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's very relevant. If you're a brand, if you're an individual, if you're a speaker or a reciter, you need to know this so you know how best to promote yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of psychology as well, because it's not just the fact of making a film or shooting something and pushing it out there. The worst thing you could do is to film something and just spread it across all platforms, the same video.
Okay.
You should really create content that is platform native.
All right.
And especially if you're a business or a brand, it should be speaking to a certain buyer type as well. It's very, very kind of, the psychology behind it is very interesting. If you've worked in sales, a cold call is different to someone approaching you. So it's about adapting in terms of, I'm talking business, adapting sales techniques into video production.
Interesting.
And so, for example, let me give you an example. Someone who uploads a video of their brand on TikTok, they're appealing to someone who's like it's like a cold call.
Okay.
They're on the app just scrolling for entertainment, to escape.
Yeah.
So your video is like, are you interested? You're like, nah, just looking. It's that kind of approach.
Okay.
Whereas someone who searches for your product on Google and they end up on your landing page, they have more intent as a buyer now.
Okay.
So the content you create has to appeal to them in a different way to the TikTok video.
Nice.
So everyone has to learn.
So what would be your tip for a TikTok video that can grasp someone's attention within 3-4 seconds?
It's very difficult.
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah, the million-dollar question. Everyone tries different techniques.
Yeah.
I think the more people try techniques, the more familiar people come, and they can smell it. So don't just do something obvious like, oh, stop scrolling. It's like, scroll. People.
You've seen that. I've seen that before.
I think just be true to your brand or to yourself, and people can sense when you're being authentic or not. My slogan, I have a 3-word slogan: strategic, authentic, cinematic. So those 3 together are really important. You have to be authentic. Authenticity, people can sense that.
Yeah, you got to be real.
Absolutely.
For people to connect with you, because I've always had this thing as well. People tell me when I go up on stage, it's like, oh, you're a bit too yourself. Well, I'm like, at the end of the day, people connect with people. They don't connect with a screen. They don't connect with this persona. They connect with people, and so we're trying to make it as real as possible. There's always been a question in my mind. By the way, just before that, we keep saying film making, right? In my mind, and again, this is probably the average layman, when you say film, I'm thinking 90-minute kind of blockbuster film. Is that what it is? Or are we talking something completely different? Film
the term has been sort of adapted to everything now.
Okay.
But in its essence, filmmaking is creating a sequence of images that tells a story.
Right.
Ultimately.
Right.
So I guess you could call something a film. The question is, how long is a film?
Okay.
Is it an hour? Is it half an hour? Is a short film 1 minute? Can it be 10 seconds?
Okay.
So, you know, it's broad. It encompasses a lot.
Okay. All right. Thanks for clearing that up for me, because it was always because since we've had discussions a couple of days ago, I'm like, filmmaking, okay, film, and I'm trying to think, what film has Ali actually produced? Like, maybe it's somewhere online I haven't seen, because the work that I'm familiar with is either Latmiyat or the Majalis and stuff like that. Now, speaking of Latmiyat, are you aware of the sudden change in how recitations are now portrayed? Because back in the day it was just one still camera on the radud, on the reciter, and every now and then you'll get one still camera on the audience. Now you've got like cranes and all these different angles and these graphics coming on, and you've got the subtitles, and even the track itself is edited. What impact do you think that has on the whole Shia world?
I think it was an inevitability that would happen. You know, unless someone corrects me, I think I was the first kind of, in our community anyway, bring that kind of level of production value to the majalis, with your help, obviously, and Shabab Saftain actually, really for facilitating that, because as a community we always tend to be behind when it comes to the progression in technology, and we always it tends to be the West, other Muslims, than us. So I always, at that stage, I was like, let's try and push it up a bit. Let's try and make things as best as they could be. I think it can become a spectacle, but I think it does justice to the message and what we are trying to portray as well in the majlis.
Yeah, I agree. Last question, I guess, for you before we go on to the break, and it's something that I've always wanted to ask kind of filmmakers. If you did have the opportunity to film like a blockbuster movie about Islam, Shia Islam, you know, what would you film? What would be your story, your message, and how would you do it?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, Karbala and the story of Imam Hussein is the holy grail in terms of it's it lends itself to being a film.
Okay.
And a cinematic kind of experience. I don't think a 2-hour film, 3-hour film would do it justice, though.
Okay.
I think actually the Mukhtar series is the best way to approach this in terms of a cinematic experience, because you do it justice, you tell the story. I think it would work as a series, a mini-series.
That's a very good
point. Maybe a 10-part series.
Yeah.
And Mukhtar, especially if you're going to appeal to a non-Shia audience, Mukhtar acts as your eyes and ears. He kind of experiences the story as you do, and learns about the tragedies that unfold.
Okay. So
to do it justice, I think it needs a 10-part series told like the Mukhtar narrative.
That's a very good point, actually, because you know we come across series on Netflix and Amazon and all that stuff where they are portraying armies, and they are portraying a certain time within history. The one that I was quite keen on, again, it was following a character and his experiences with the world. The Viking guy, forgot his name. Viking. His name, whatever.
Okay.
But when I look at it, it was a cinematic experience because actually no. What's his face? The series that everyone, Game of Thrones, for example, there was one battle scene that I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he said to me that never before has a battle scene been filmed in that way, where the main character was in the middle of like horses running, and it was dark, and then there was mud being thrown around, swords and blood. So it can be done. And I think you're right. I think we take away from the essence of the story of Imam Hussein alayhi salam if we do try to compact everything within 2 hours, because there's a lot of components to the story, right?
And you have to build that kind of connection with the characters as well. It's hard to do that over a 2-hour, 3-hour period.
Yeah, you're right.
Whereas if you're on episode 10 and now you know the characters, you know the story, you've built that connection now.
That's a very good point.
Where it becomes that much more emotional, especially to a non-Shia audience.
Yeah. I like that. Now, after the break, ladies and gentlemen, we're still going to carry on with Ali Basri. He's got his camera and equipment and loads of nice little gadgets. So we're going to dismember them in a nice way. We're going to dismember them and look at each kind of component and how you, the dear viewers, can gain lessons as to what you need to do basically in order to start creating your own film. After that, we're going to look at one of his, for me anyway, one of my favorite videos that Ali, or films that Ali has directed and edited and produced. And we're going to dissect why it is Ali's favorite and my favorite as well. So don't go anywhere, brothers and sisters. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Hussein from London. You're very blessed to be in the holy land of Karbala. Please pray for us and pray for everyone who do wish to go.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. I want to pay my respects to Imam Hussein and Mulla Abbas from my parents, and I would like you to recite Salam and Ziyara for Imam Hussein and Mulla Abbas on my behalf.
Assalamu alaikum ibn Hussein wa awlad al-Hussein wa ashab al-Hussein wa ansar al-Hussein. Labbaika ya Hussein, labbaika ya Ghazi.
Jiddu, I need to tell you a secret. I had an exam today and I cheated on the exam, and to be honest, I feel like it's eating me up inside as if it's haram.
Your father used to do the exact something and would always get in trouble. But you have done it now and cannot go back. I don't know if it is haram. Khair inshallah.
Thanks, Jiddu. Jiddu, I wanted to ask if it's halal to buy lottery tickets. They're so cheap and we could make a lot of money.
I don't know if it is halal or haram, but never think about something like that again.
Okay, I was just asking. Jiddu.
تعبتني, what do you want now?
I just wanted to ask if Sweet's beef gelatin is halal or haram.
You're supposed to check it before buying it, not after. I don't know if this is halal or haram.
Okay.
What now? I am trying to relax. Why do you keep asking me? تعال هنا الخاطر الله. Just go watch Ahkam SOS. Any question you have, they can answer you. You can call them, message them, anything. Ask as much as you like. They can answer any question from any marja, okay?
Welcome back, dear viewers of Imam Hussein TV. If you are just joining us, you are watching Morning Baraka, a program that is on weekly, Monday, Tuesday and Friday, where I have a plethora of different guests talking about different topics. Today we are talking filmmaking with the filmmaker, Ali Basri, who is hard at work putting his gadgets together. Before the break, we talked about some of the theory behind... Before the break, we talked about some theory behind Before the break, we talked about some of the theory behind filmmaking, some of the psychology behind it, working within our community. So again, if you've just joined us, I would rewind and then play from about 15 minutes ago, because it was a fascinating discussion as to how to get started when it comes to filmmaking, especially within our community. Now, Ali, many thanks once again for joining me. So, what's going on here?
What's going on here?
Yeah.
Here is kind of, I'm showing you the progression of cameras over the last 15 years.
Oh,
maybe.
nice. Okay.
So this camera is what really started everything off.
Yeah.
This is the Canon 5D Mark II.
Canon 5D, okay.
So this was the first camera to actually shoot 1080p video in a DSLR body. Yeah.
1080 and then DSLR.
Yeah.
So what's 1080?
So 1080 is just high definition.
High definition.
It was important because these type of cameras were typically used for photography.
Okay.
So you get that kind of blurred background look. So when it started doing video, it kind of took the filmmaking world by storm. Really? It was the camera to have.
Okay.
And yeah, it kind of, everyone was using it from, you know, it was even used on some high budget films and as like a crash cam.
Just that itself?
Yeah, just this. Obviously they would rig it up and they would put certain things on. But as an image, it was like a really, really nice image. And it was all by accident. Canon had no idea that it would take the world by storm. They just put it in as a feature. And everyone just started making films using it.
That's amazing.
But yeah,
there was another version of this as well, right?
Many versions.
5D, and then there was like was there a 70? Or am I just
70, 60.
Oh, there is.
And this is actually the same camera I used to film the Majalis. And yeah, it's kind of it's on the mantelpiece.
Okay. So this is a classic then?
This is a classic camera. Then you kind of move to the more beefy, typical cinema camera. So this is...
I can see red.
Yeah, this is the red camera. Red are known to be the sort of one of the main leading cinema camera companies in the world. You know, many films and TV shows have been shot on red.
On this particular.
This particular camera here as well. This particular model.
Oh, as in red, the brand do very high definition stuff. Right?
Yeah. So this was high definition.
Okay.
This camera can shoot in 6K, which is.
So this is 180. That's
1080.
1080.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So this is much higher quality.
So if we're talking about numbers, 1080 is, let's just say 1080.
Yeah.
And this one is 6000.
6000.
Is that frames per second?
No, it's the resolution of the sensor.
I got that horribly wrong. Okay.
Pixels,
yeah.
But just to keep it simple, it shoots maybe 6 times the quality of the 5D, and it shoots in a RAW format, so you can really push and pull the image in terms of colors, and you know, the color quality is really rich.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
This and now, the latest and greatest. This is basically this is the Red Komodo X, which is
Komodo X.
Yeah, this is the latest and greatest from Red.
Okay.
This is basically the same camera as this.
Yeah.
But you can see how advanced technology has become to fit everything into a small body like this.
So the same thing but smaller.
Same thing,
compact,
it's just
easy to use.
The advancements in technology just mean you can now put everything in a smaller body.
Lens plays a massive role in filmmaking?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Lens creates the look. So depending on the lens, determines how far or how near the background is.
Is it true the bigger the lens, the better the camera, the quality of the photo? Because I've seen photographers who have lenses like probably like this big. Maybe if they're shooting really far away.
Yeah, that's just for reach. So
reach.
A lot of sports photographers will use those lenses.
Yeah.
But it's more about the glass. So you have certain vintage lenses which are commonly used in filmmaking, which give a unique, because you know you can have a clinical look where it's very crisp, or you can have a lens that has a lot of character, and the little kind of scratches or distortions add to that feel as well.
Interesting. Okay.
So this, for example, sorry, this lens is this is my dad's lens. He used to have on his Olympus film camera in the 80s.
Okay.
So this is a lens I use, and it gives a completely different image than a new sort of clean modern lens.
So this is new information. Your father was into this as well?
My dad works as a doctor, so he needed a camera to take before and after pictures.
Okay. I thought he was a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so yeah. I found this lens in a cupboard one day, and adapted it to my cameras.
That's amazing. So you've got, say, 15 years ago, the Canon. Is that all right? 15 years ago?
Yeah, around 15 years.
And this is this is you need to have this if you want to film something like top class.
Tricky question. I don't think, to be honest, the camera in today's day and age is the conversation.
Right.
Because, like I said, the iPhone now shoots probably better quality image than this did. Because the iPhone can do 4K now, which is 4 times the quality of this in terms of resolution.
Interesting.
So,
but it's all
about
message,
the message.
Image,
So let me give you like an example, an analogy. Have you heard of the saying, strengthen your argument, don't raise your voice?
Yes.
So you should strengthen your content rather than raise or look at the camera or the image quality. It's all about that content and the underlining message.
So I came across one of my favorite works that you've done, and you've also selected this particular video for us to analyze today. I'd like to ask the technician, hopefully, to play this video, because genuinely it's very, very inspiring. You're going to enjoy the next 2-3 minutes. After that, we're going to come back and dissect this video as to why this particular film was one of Ali's favorites. In about 10 seconds. So I'll just do a countdown: 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Every year we gather around together to commemorate these holy nights of Muharram, these holy nights of the tragedy of Karbala, because it's a gift from God. Imam Hussein has an underlying love in the hearts of all those who are mu'mins. It's a magnet that takes us towards Karbala, takes us towards Imam Hussein salamullahi alayhi. Having great ambitions is the main driving force behind a person's success in this world and also in the hereafter. Qasim ibn al-Hasan salamullah alayh was one of these people with great ambitions.
Oh, Uncle Hussein, please allow me to fight and support you.
No, Qasim. You are too young, my son.
Oh, Uncle, I will die fighting for you.
Qasim, let me ask you one thing. How do you see death?
Death? Fighting for your cause makes them sweeter than honey. Ya Hussein! Ya Hussein! Ya Hussein!
إنا جنودك يا حسين، وهذه أسيافنا ودماؤنا الحمراء. إن فاتنا يوم الطفوف فهذه أرواحنا لك يا حسين فداء. شهيد، غريب، ذبيح، عطشان. حسين، 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 حسين. يا فاطمة قومي إلى الطفوف، هذا حسين طعمة السيوف.
Goosebumps, brothers and sisters. That really puts you into a mind frame of Karbala and looking forward to Muharram. Hats off to Akbar Foundation for their fantastic programs throughout Muharram and certain times of the year. But that really did capture, Ali, the essence of Muharram from the beginning to the end. I felt like, you know how you said earlier that a film could be 10 seconds, it could be a minute, it could be 2 hours long. And I always learned that films, there's a beginning, an intro, a middle, and a conclusion. It felt like there was a beginning, an introduction, a narrative, a middle, and an end. Walk us through this film.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at that, 1,000 hours of my life gone by there. But, you know, first, yeah, I would like to obviously give a shout out to Akbar Foundation as well. They put on a great majlis, and it was an honor to capture it. And it wouldn't have happened actually without Sayyid Murtada, so
okay.
I have to just give him a shout out as well.
To
but I was there for 2 nights.
Just 2 nights?
Yeah, I was there on the 8th and the 10th.
All of that was captured in 2 nights?
Yeah, that was 2 nights.
Oh my God.
So it looks longer. It looks like it's the whole of the 10 nights. Yeah. So yeah, it was very, very tricky to. It was like, you know, it took me a while to think how to approach this. And the way I did it ultimately was through a non-linear structure. So you start with kind of images from the 10th night, and then you have the narration of the Sheikh. Obviously, the night 8 is Qasim night, so the majority of my footage was from Qasim, from the Qasim night. So, and obviously Akbar is known to be, by the youth, for the youth.
Yeah.
So I think having the Qasim narration kind of, really, really kind of
enriched the story.
Enriched
I would
it,
say.
yeah. So, I went through I approached it with a non-linear structure, and this constant cutting back and forth between night 10, night 8, just to get in the viewer's mind that you're going to see more than just one night, and there's going to be a culmination.
Yeah.
And it was just about how to tell that story, and then obviously a few behind the scenes shots.
Yeah.
But the structure was non-linear.
Yeah. So there were a couple of things that stood out for me. What stood out for you? I guess what was the most difficult part of making that film?
The most difficult part. It's hard because editing is a process.
Yeah.
So you find, just that sometimes the beginning, I like to actually sometimes start with the end. I like to know how it's going to finish.
Okay.
And that sometimes might dictate how I start. But it's kind of, to be honest, I don't know if I should reveal certain things because it might ruin it for some people. But when you're making these films, you sort of have a creative license to use the footage in a certain way.
Yeah.
For example, as you know, Majalis, it gets very, especially on Qasim night, it gets very heated and busy and packed. So there was a lot of commotion going on, and I actually missed the shot of him taking
the sword
out.
Okay.
So initially I was like, oh, what am I going to do? But it actually worked out for the better, I think.
Okay.
It was a happy accident because when it cuts to him, he's holding the sword.
Yeah.
And I think it's a much more powerful image than if he was taking it out and he has the microphone in his face.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Working with that and figuring out how to solve that issue was a bit tricky. But as well, you also have to think, I'm just by myself. I'm using one camera. I'm constantly switching lenses. So at certain times, like when the baby was being brought up, it's very hard to capture everything at once.
That is quite difficult.
So it's very difficult. So some of the reactions you see of the crowd are actually from like the Musibah before when he's speaking.
Okay.
But in Tika, it goes back to a film, which is just a sequence of images.
Yeah.
So it might not be them reacting to that particular shot that follows.
Yeah.
But it works together to create the emotion.
I don't know if see, there's these little attention to detail, which sets you apart from other filmmakers. I'm not sure if the technicians can find it, but it was within the first minute, just after the Sheikh is finished. Said Hassan and Nawab was on the screen. He blinked, and then it cut.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can see that. Can we show that again? I think it's about 45 seconds in, just at the end of... Yes, that bit there.
Yeah.
Because that, again, with the backing track that you used, really did... I think what it did for me was that it told me, like, that's the first part of the story done.
Correct.
Let's go into the second part now, and that's where Qasim came out and he did the Qasim.
Yeah.
Any scenes that you saw in the video which really stuck out for you, was like that like was one of my best scenes. You mentioned something to do with the baby.
Yeah, the baby. So I didn't know he was going to lift the baby up.
Okay.
And very few people do that. Yeah. So that was actually another thing that added to the emotion. Seeing the baby being lifted and then cutting to people crying.
Yeah.
That worked really well and kind of affected me while I was editing.
Okay.
But honestly, like, there's nothing complicated about my work.
Right.
My work is very simple.
Yeah.
It's not that I have anything against people who use flashy transitions or really, like, complicated text. But it goes back to the story is the key. You don't need all of that if your story is strong.
Yeah.
So a lot of my work you'll see is very simple cuts and nothing fancy.
Lastly, Ali, in terms of any aspiring filmmakers out there, any top tips, maybe top 2 or 3 tips that you can give them when they're starting up that you hoped someone would tell you 20 years ago?
Wow.
Sorry.
Ending on an easy question.
10 years ago. 20 years ago. I don't know how old you are. I don't want to make
Say
you sound
10.
old. Okay.
I went from being, anyway. Probably, I wish I had known. It's not going to be easy. It's not an easy path. You really have, it's a long slog. You have to put in the work. You really, if you say you're an aspiring filmmaker, you have to go out and be shooting all the time. Nothing is going to teach you like, you know, practically filming, working on an edit, understanding that, oh, that didn't work, I need to shoot it again. That's the best lesson.
Interesting.
But yeah, if you want to be if you're an aspiring filmmaker, put your money where your mouth is.
Inshallah. Well, look, I mean, time, unfortunately, has come to an end. It's been a fascinating discussion with you, Ali. Thank you so much for coming on to Morning Baraka.
Pleasure.
I guess you're going to pack up all this lovely stuff and keep it hidden in a safe, because these are very valuable things, I'm assuming, right? They're highly valuable.
They cost more than my car.
Okay.
Which is not saying much, by the way.
I know, I've seen your car.
People who know me, yeah.
Well, that was Ali Al-Basri, filmmaker. Many thanks to him for his excuse me, time. Coming after the break, here's what's coming up. We're joined by Yasser, well, not joined by Yasser, as in Yasser and his discoveries will stumble across an individual who's managed to balance life, business, family, as well as leading a community. We'll find out who after the break.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة.
May your heart be at ease, O servant of mine. I am your Mulla Al-Hussein. I am the stranger of Karbala, and you are a stranger in these moments. Whoever visits my resting place, I visit theirs, and if they were put in hellfire, my intercession would spare. Did you not visit me after every salah? Did you not cry for me and wail for me? Did you not call out, Labbayka ya Hussein? Did you not call out, Labbayka ya Hussein? You have a right upon me, O my servant, and here is where you will take it, so do not be scared. O Allah, I beseech you in the name of my mother Fatima and her broken ribs.
Let the light of Ziyarat Ashura bring tranquility to the graves of your deceased. By contributing to the Husseini message, a recitation of Ziyarat Ashura will be in the name of your loved ones who have passed on. Let their names be mentioned by the grave of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam one final time.
Welcome back to Morning Baraka. We're edging towards the end of the program. However, second-generation Muslims who didn't have to endure the struggles of war, poverty and seeking refuge in foreign lands are thought to have no excuse for not making something of themselves living in the West. However, we know that life in developed countries is still very difficult. So making sure they finish uni, building a family and having the time to give back to the community is quite an accomplishment. So Yasser has come across an individual that, alhamdulillah, managed to run his own business, build a family and lead an organization that has catered for the London community for years. Yasser with more.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thanks, Mulla, for introducing me. Today, I wanted to talk about how Shias have lived in London for many generations, upholding their religious Shia identity by holding majalis, programs, and while still maintaining a professional role within society. Today, I'm outside Brahim Opticians, where I'm going to meet Haji Muhammad and Hazaji and try to see what I can find out about this place. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. After showing you bits and pieces of what's within this optician, I'm now here with the founder of Brahim Opticians, Haji Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, Haji Muhammad. How are you, my brother? You okay? Just to let the viewers know, I see Haji Muhammad as one of my older brothers, role models. I've known him for time now, but we don't see each other much. So I want to dive straight in. No, you're too busy, not me. To dive straight in, Haji Muhammad, I wanted to say, could you tell me more about this opticians, how it was to start the opticians, what challenges you faced and had to overcome to build this place from the ground up?
Okay, so this opticians was established over 50 years ago. MashaAllah. So we took over, it's now 3.5 years. It was quite dated. The equipment was all very old, the stock was very old. So we had to renovate the whole place, update all the equipment, bring in new stock. We had a big turnaround of staff training, but alhamdulillah, with a bit of time and dedication, we got a place up and running.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And many people will know, as well as me and some other people from the team that are here today, that you're not someone that shies away from the community and being a leader for the community, mashallah. I just wanted to ask that, being a business owner, and like you run this business, mashallah, and you have your own family, and you make programs for the youth, where the youth feel safe to come to, where parents know that they can send their children to this area, to this place, where they'll learn about the Ahlul Bayt, make friends, have some jokes, but the most important thing is they're going to be safe. How do you balance all of that, whilst of course being here, being a man that runs his family, runs his business, and then makes programs for the community? How does that work?
It's tough, it's not easy. You probably noticed over the last couple of years, my input into the community has decreased to what it was before, but that comes with responsibilities. Running your own business is not easy.
100%.
Having a family, small young children, again, that needs time. You need to sit with them, bring them up. But alhamdulillah, to serve the community is a barakah in itself.
Alhamdulillah.
And there is a sense of tawfiq
100%.
in doing so. So inshallah, we try to put a bit of time aside, try and do our small bit where we can. But al-barakah is with people like yourself, the up and coming. Inshallah, you guys can continue and smash it.
Inshallah, 100%. Well, there you have it, viewers. Everything we needed to know about the opticians for today. I wanted to thank you, Haji Muhammad, for letting me, the team here, for letting me record your beautiful, beautiful building. And as you said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give tawfiq to the youth that know that they need to take care of the community. And may Allah give you tawfiq for running a business like this, as well as having in the back of your mind how you can help the community as well. And there you have it, Mulla. Honestly, if you're going to ask me, what I found so inspiring about Haji Muhammad's story is that, like most of us, his family were immigrants. And instead of using that as an excuse to his failure, he used it as motivation for his success. That he followed his dreams of becoming an optician, and that now he can proudly say he owns his own opticians, where he runs his own business, being able to take care of his family, and also having the opportunity to be a community leader. That he never shied away from the community and knew the importance of guiding the youth from an early age. Now, honestly, Mullah, if people were to ask me, why did I have to go to Hajj Muhammad? Why did I choose his opticians? It's because he's not just an ordinary business owner, but rather, since day one, he always cared about the community. And even till today, where he owns his own business, he does not use it as an excuse to shy away, but rather he uses it to motivate the community. And that was truly a Morning Baraka special here with Yasser's Discoveries. And now over to you, Mulla Ali.
Hello, dear viewers. Many thanks to Yasser and Yasser's Discoveries. Inshallah, we look forward to more of Yasser's Discoveries as he scours northwest London to find interesting places that provide a service for the community. Now, on this day returns, and we told you last week, Friday, about the failed attempts of Abu Bakr and Umar, the companions of Rasulullah, at confronting the Jews of Khaybar, and that it needed Imam Ali's intervention in order to bring success and victory to the army of the Prophet. Well, that victory was on this day. The Battle of Khaybar was an armed confrontation between the early Muslims and the Jewish community of Khaybar. Khaybar, which is located approximately 150 kilometers to the northwest of Medina, was home to a sizable community of Jewish tribes. The Jews had arrived in Arabia after fleeing from Judea in the wake of the Jewish-Roman wars. Now, amidst the rise of Islam in the Hijaz, the Muslim community feared that the Jews, who had recently been attacked and expelled from Medina after the Prophet, on the basis of divine revelation, alleged that they had been plotting to assassinate him, were forging alliances with a number of non-Muslim Arabian tribes. Back to the Battle of Khaybar. After the many smaller forts in the area were taken down, one remained, the last and heavily guarded fortress of called Al-Qamus. Al-Qamus, I think it was, yeah. Anyway, it's reported that the siege on this fortress lasted approximately 13 days. After several attempts by companions to take it down, the last hope of the Messenger of Allah rested in the arms of his cousin and son-in-law, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Marhab, a feared warrior and guardian of this fortress, came out and proclaimed that Khaybar knows well that I am Marhab, whose weapon is sharp, a warrior tested. Sometimes I thrust with a spear, sometimes I strike with sword, when lions advance in burning rage. Imam Ali's famous response was, and I am the one whose mother named him Haydar, and I am like a lion of the forest with a terror-striking countenance. The two soldiers struck at each other, and after the second blow, Imam Ali alayhi salam cleaved through Marhab's helmet, killing him on the spot, giving victory to Rasulullah and the Muslims. And that was on this day, 7 after Hijrah, or the 7th year after Hijrah. Now, coming towards the end of the program, as ever, we end with the dua of Monday as given to us by Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, where we will be talking the martyrdom of Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam with Shaykh Ibrahim al-Ansari. So, as ever, we end with, O Allah, please make the beginning of this day of mine righteousness, its middle prosperity, and its end success. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لم يشهد أحدا حين فطر السماوات والأرض، ولا اتخذ معينا حين برأ السماوات، لم يشارك في الإلهية ولم يظاهر في الوحدانية، كالتي الألسن عن غاية صفته، وانحسرت العقول عن كنه معرفته، وتواضعت الجبابرة لهيبته، وعنت الوجوه لخشيته، وانقاد كل عظيم لعظمته. فلك الحمد متواترا متسقا ومتواليا مستوسقا، وصلواته على رسوله أبدا، وسلامه دائما سرمدا. اللهم اجعل أول يومي هذا صلاحا، وأوسطه فلاحا، وآخره نجاحا. وأعوذ بك من يوم أوله فزاع، وأوسطه جزاع، وآخره وجاع. اللهم إني أستغفرك لكل نذر نذرته، ولكل وعد وعدته، ولكل عهد عاهدته، ثم لم أفي لك به. وأسألك في مظالم عبادك عندي، فأيما عبد من عبيدك أو أمة من إمائك كانت له قبلي مظلمة ظلمتها إياه في نفسه أو في عرضه أو في ماله أو في أهله وولده، أو غيبة اغتبته بها، أو تحامل عليه بميل أو هوان أو أنفة أو حمية أو رياء أو عصبية، غائبا كان أو شاهدا، وحيا كان أو ميتا. فقصرت يدي وضاق وسعي عن ردها إليه والتحلل منه. فأسألك يا من يملك الحاجات وهي مستجيبة بمشيئته ومسرعة إلى إرادته، أن تصلي على محمد وآل محمد، وأن ترضيه عني بما شئت، وتهب لي من عندك رحمة، إنه لا تنقصك المغفرة ولا تضرك الموهبة يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أولني في كل يوم اثنين
نعمتين منك اثنتين سعادة في أوله بطاعتك ونعمة في آخره بمغفرتك يا من هو الإله ولا يغفر الذنوب سواه وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين.
The Shia are screaming, crying that their Imam is dead, and the skies are testifying that holy blood was shed over his body. They cry, can't you see? They cry, can't you see? Over his body. How are their hearts that believing that when he dies they can't rest, and with the death of